What is going on, everyone? Today I wanted to make a Season 5 wishlist video, and I ended up watching AussieAntics' video, and he had a lot of really good takes that I agreed with and I was actually going to include anyway. So what I figured I would do is we're going to watch his video in the background, and I'm going to pause it and add my inputs, whether it be positive or negative, on his ideas. Because I feel like he explained everything much better and went in depth on a lot of things that he would like, and I actually had a lot, like I said, a lot of similar ideas. I do have some different opinions as well, which I'll add, but yeah, let's get right into it here.
The biggest change that I want to see is I want crash pads and shockwaves gone. And this is the big one that a lot of people disagree with. I don't want gold or legendary pumps. I still want pumps in the game, but I don't want the ability to one pump.
Okay, so I do agree with the crash pad and shockwave vault. I think that would be huge, primarily because he'll get into why, but one of the reasons is if you're in a stacked endgame in a tournament, or if you're in scrims, or this never happens, but a stacked endgame in arena, these are huge factors of FPS drops, which is one of my issues with them. But also, I'm going to continue playing it because he has a very valid point on these as well. And anyway,
I feel
yeah.
like if pumps only came in gray, green, and blue rarity, the game would be so much more skillful.
In regard to the pump vault as well, I gotta be honest, as much fun as it is one pumping people or hitting for 100 to 200, I do think the bailout pump should be gone. I think that's originally I hated the charged shotgun, but the more I played without it, the more I realized that it slowed down gameplay, but it also made it much more. You had to be strategic about how you used it. You couldn't just quickly flick 360, flick 200, pump someone and win the round, or win the fight. But I don't know. I think maybe they should get rid of upgraded pumps. As much fun as they are a bit overpowered, but we'll see what they end up doing.
A lot of people say one pumping takes a lot of skill, and I just have to disagree.
That's debatable.
In a lot of ways. Yes, hitting a beautiful triple edit with a one pump feels so good, and it's really
Facts.
rewarding. But at the same time,
It's a big clip right there if you triple edit one pump someone. But
you're trying to piece control them, you're trying to get them, and all they do is just swing and hit some lucky one pump. You know,
yeah.
It's the first time they've done it, they're freaking out, and you're now dead because of it. I just really don't like the ability to one pump. I quite often, as a player, I'm not the best player in the world. I'm a commentator, I'm an analyst, but I have killed that many pros this season because I can just pull off a ridiculously lucky one pump, or I can just crash pad phase into their box, which takes no skill, and then hit them with one lucky shot.
It's actually true.
Rewarding players who can get a good shot off, like a blue pump should still hit hard, like a 180, but not a 200 pump. You should have to have some kind of ability. If I'm on the back foot and I'm on 10 health, the other guy's on 200 health, they've been dominating me. There is no point where one shot should finish that fight and end them, and then I win.
I agree with that completely. Simply because I've had I've completely bodied some kid in a fight, and then when I finally get in there, they're not even looking at me and they just flick 200 pump me. But then I've also had it on the other end of the spectrum where I get completely worked by someone who I will admit is better than me at the game, and then I somehow just line up and hit a 200 pump and win. I don't think I agree with him. It's not very skillful because it's ultimately just comes down to luck and RNG with the shot. So
as far as crash pads and shockwaves, I just don't like mobility that breaks other builds. How many times?
Yeah, 100%.
Rotating endgame, you're on a great layout,
I agree with
you're
that.
looking good, and then all of a sudden, a guy shockwaves through the floor.
Having people crash pad or shockwave into your builds at any point, like I've done it. I've hit a bunch of clips doing it because it's meta, but it is awful.
Crash pads are so irritating, not just because of their mobility aspects, but the fact that there's so many exploits into my box. I'm sitting endgame, I'm 200 health, I'm looking good, max mats, I've just got my refresh, and some guy just crash pads in through my wall and one pumps me.
That's happened so many times.
It doesn't take any.
That's happened ton to me in scrims and arena, and it's mentally exhausting to have that happen. I agree with him. Also, crash pads, the sheer volume of crash pads late game, which is why they nerfed the amount they stack in. The sheer volume of them is what causes huge FPS and server lag.
Skill, if someone gets into my box, they should have to either take my wall and hit a nice edit, or they should have to try and exploit in with some kind of ramp rush or something. You can't just crash pad it.
The ramp exploit's
so
super
much.
annoying, but
So,
I'd rather have that than
propose
crash
to
pads or
do differently?
shockwaves.
What would I rather? Because obviously I don't want zero mobility. I think the most balanced mobility in Fortnite, if we take out crash pads and shockwaves, would be adding shadow bombs and launch pads. So I love launch pads because
I agree with this.
A recyclable
100%.
mobility, so mobility that gets left behind that other players can use is so much better for the game, in my opinion. You can be sitting complete opposite on half-half, you don't have rotation, but you're looking through your cone, you're getting information, you realize that the guy next to you just got an airdrop 5 seconds earlier, he's got a launch pad. If I can force him to use it, I can rotate off it. It's so much better.
100%. I agree with that. Also, launch pads don't tank server FPS and create a ton of server lag. And you have to be strategic. Like, you have to know if someone's going to use it and how you're going to rotate to them.
And shadow bombs?
Yeah.
Shadow bombs are great.
Also,
mobility.
shadow bombs
They
are
reduce
awesome,
the game's
and they haven't been in the
RNG,
game
you
in a
don't
long
get
time,
zones,
so that would
they
be really
don't
fun.
break builds, and you
I think.
can't exploit in with them. They're so much
And they're
healthier.
awesome to
Now,
rotate
for
with. They're
solos,
so
I think
good.
6 shadow
They're
bombs,
very
like during
balanced
World
as
Cup,
well.
was a little bit ridiculous. Finding 2 stacks of shadow bombs on spawn and then getting 6 of them was a little bit much. I'd maybe like to see them only drop in stacks of 2, and you...
I was actually just about to say, I didn't even hear this point when I first watched this, but I was going to say if they dropped in stacks of 2 similar to crash pads, that would be perfect.
You can carry a max of 4. I think that would be a lot healthier. And if we get
100%.
duos next season, shadow bombs are great because if you get 2, drop one for your teammate, pop a shadow bomb, and you both hit the same rotate. Or if we get squads, launch pads are going to be really healthy as well. So I know shadow bombs are strong for rotating, but honestly, they're not strong at getting into your box. They're not strong at exploiting. And if you catch someone in your box with a shadow bomb, you can easily finish them off.
Also, you can't shoot with shadow bombs, so you're rotating without, like, that's the balanced part. You're partially invisible, you can rotate that way, fast, extra jump ability, but you can't shoot, so it balances it out.
The only issue I can see with removing one pumping is spray meta could come back. If you can't one
True.
pump someone, if you
That would be a
don't have
nightmare.
that strong spaz, players hooking it into your box with an AR or an SMG will become a lot stronger. So I think they need to make sure they've balanced that. I'm not exactly sure how they could do it. Just making sure
I think since they nerfed aim assist, it won't be as strong, but I do feel like that may end up being a problem. Spray meta was awful, and I hope it doesn't come back.
The damage traps, but I don't know. Damage traps to me are quite frustrating. They're very low skill. If I'm trying to get in to finish someone, all they've got to do is put a trap down to hit me for 150. I don't fully agree with that. A lot of people talk about the tac shotgun, and honestly, if the tac shotgun came back, it would help me massively. I'm all aim, no mechanics, so getting in a box with a tac shotgun is usually my best way to pull off something good. But at the same time, I don't think it's the health.
Here's I don't think they should bring back damage traps just because, yeah, they are low skill. Unless they made them only 100 damage, that would be rather balanced. I do agree with bringing back the tac, though, because the combat shotgun is so bad. Like, I don't know what they were thinking. They added it with the damage of attack, but the hitbox of, like, a hunting rifle. Like, it makes no sense. If they buffed the combat, it would make sense and make the gun viable, but right now it makes no sense to actually run in pubs, arena, tournaments, whatever. It makes no sense. The only gun that's actually viable right now is the pump.
Healthiest meta, just getting in someone's box and then just spraying and praying with your shotgun, just trying to hit more shots. I do genuinely think if it only went up to blue pump, it would be a lot healthier. As for map changes, honestly, I just want a bit of variety in there. I just want to make sure the map actually changes throughout the season, or hopefully to start the new season. The only main addition I want on the map is I want no mythic POIs, or if they are mythic POIs... That's
a prayer, buddy. That's not going to happen. They're going to run mythic POIs into the ground.
They're more like...
But... I hope they don't, and I hope they make them more balanced if they're going to continue that route.
The old school Grotto Shark, they were strong, but you didn't have like 50 people going there like Stark.
True. My beef with the mythic POIs, which he's actually going to bring up in a minute, but I've said since the very beginning of mythic POIs, is the fact that They're so overpowered, not even with the items they drop, but the fact that they clear out lobbies so quickly. Like the problem where you're in, if you're playing a regular solo game, first zone closes in, there's like 15 to 20 people left. It's because so many people land either Stark or Dooms, and most of the lobby gets cleared out instantly. So many people land for these mythic POIs because even if you don't get the mythic items, they drop insane loot. Causes probably like, I don't know, probably 60 to 75% of the lobby goes there, and that's probably on the low end. So it just causes the game to clear out way faster than they should. And then I'm glad that they took the route this season where instead of caddy launcher and that horrific meta, thankfully in arena they didn't add the mythics, which was nice. And the mythics this season were much more balanced than they've been in the past. So
honestly, nothing ruins tournaments or games right now more than the fact that, okay, cool, if I want to drop a good amount of eliminations, I have to drop Stark, because that's where the whole lobby is going. If I drop Stark, though, it's a 50-50
it's a giant 50-50.
I have to not get hit by Iron Man, I have to not get killed by Stark bots, and I have to not die to a kid camping the vault. But if you choose to not go
Stark is the ultimate caddy. Like if you land Stark, it's like double the amount of people that would land caddy.
There's only 20 left in the lobby. I just think mythics, not only the mythic items are really unhealthy for the game right now, I think the POIs just aren't as strong. I think it just annoys me the fact that they completely clear out the lobbies for arena and solos, and they lead to no end game. The only other
Very true. If they removed mythics, more people would stay alive throughout the game, and you'd actually have stacked end games similar to scrims, which would be very good practice for semis and finals in different tournaments.
Strong POIs. I want some permanent rotation. I love geysers. Even the
geysers were awesome. Yeah,
rotation around
I agree.
The map, or even rifts that are permanently there. It just lets smarter players adapt when they get opposite zones, especially first and second zone, but even end game. If I know there's a geyser and it's like third zone, I'm going to go set up near the geyser so I can make a bad next rotate if I don't get zoned. It's just, there's a lot more decision-making process that goes into where you are. Right now, the formula has never been more stale. Get center of first, get center of second, get center of third, and then stay edge of fourth so you get half-half.
Very true. Also, one of the things I liked about geysers is it just added a different element and a different layer to the gameplay. Even if you weren't using them for rotating, you could use the geyser to scope out and see if there's people around you to fight. You could use them for rotating, whether it's early game or late game, depending on where the geysers were. But you could use them for like a whole lot of things. It just added a whole different element to the game, which I liked, and since they removed them, it is kind of boring.
Changes, where if there's some permanent rotation, maybe you stay on the edge of second because it's dead side and you've got a geyser so you can rotate to center of third, stuff like that. That's all I want to see for the map, really, other than just some new changes that are fun to explore, because the only major change we got was Stark, and I don't like going Stark, so I haven't had anywhere new to drop this whole season.
I'm gonna be real here. I do land Stark, but not all the time, just because it does get old.
Alright, now let's get into
and I actually agree with that, because last season where you had the water going down, revealing all the new POIs, that was actually interesting. And it just made you have to adapt. It was like every week or two, more of the map would be revealed. You really had to adapt to the meta and the different places that were being revealed. Stark's is a fun POI, but it's not like... I'm not going to go there constantly, because it's, quite frankly, a massive 50-50.
The juicy one. What do I want to do with Arena? And this is the big one. I come from
this is huge.
Region. It takes me
and I agree with
minutes
a lot
to
of what
find
you
a game
said.
If I try to play Arena, pretty much any time before 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And yes, I know what people say, you're in a small region and all the kids are at school. I get that. But Fortnite is one of the best games, one of the biggest games in the world. I should be able to find 100 other people to verse at almost any time of the day.
Thankfully, I don't have this problem because I'm NA East. I can't imagine not having to play Arena just because of like insane queue times in like OCE or Asia servers.
The reason I can't is because Arena isn't really worth playing. Once you get to
True.
the Champions Division, you can play FNCS. There's no reason to keep grinding.
Yep.
Yeah, you got people like Mars, people like Martos who make content. That's awesome. But for the general player base, once you get champs in Arena, you don't really have a reason to keep going. But this is what I want to do. Every other game that has some kind of a cosmetic that's rewarded for your rank, people go crazy. Look.
True. And his opinion on this, I think, is very similar, tied into what goes on with Valorant. That's the first thing that came into my head, was Valorant, because in Valorant, people hit Radiant, they instantly go to Smurf accounts and grind competitive back up. And that's what a lot of players do in Fortnite too. I mean, sure, it's not okay to have Smurf accounts according to Epic, but you know, everyone has their alt accounts. It is what it is. But in regards to different skin variants based on the amount of work you put into the game, I think that's a really cool idea, and it's something that Valorant does, as well as he's going to mention COD. COD does that as well. But the first thing that came to my head was Valorant with the different variants of gun skins and stuff. I think it'd be really cool if they did something like this.
They want to make their guns look crazy. They want to flex how much they've played or how good they are. Currently, the only way to flex how much you play is through challenges, and it just doesn't feel that good. Like, if there's a Rainbow Wolverine on my wall, I don't think he's good. I just think he plays way too much.
Big facts.
But if someone has an FNCS pickaxe, I'm like, oh man, this guy is insane. And
Yep.
that's what I want to see from Arena. I want to see them make a skin each season for the Arena, and you get different variants of that skin based on how many points you get. So let's take the Mandalorian skin that's been leaked. I don't think
This is a really good
just as an
idea
example.
that I
Start
think
off
they
with
should
basic
implement.
Mandalorian. If you get 3,000 points, you get a silver Mandalorian. At 5,000 points, you get gold. 7,000 points, you get diamonds. You see where I'm going, right? You get a cosmetic that levels up with you, so that people have a reason to grind more. So
I think they should do that, but they should also do it with like pickaxes and gliders and stuff like that as well. That way, it like with Valorant, you have to you can get different variants of like every character, every gun skin, knife skin, everything. You can get different variants on everything. I think they should do something like that if they want to improve Arena playability.
if you're rocking your dark matter diamond Mandalorian with some crazy gun wrap that you got for getting top 1%, like, you see where I'm going, right? Giving a reward for getting higher points or a higher rank would make people play Arena not only more often, but more seriously. The games would become really good. If you lost a good chunk of Arena points when you die on spawn, and you got a lot for winning a game, and you really wanted to get the top level variant or skin, you'd try really hard, and Arena would actually be competitive again.
That's true.
Tournaments, I'd really like to see a Duos FNCS. Duos is truly my
I
favorite
agree.
game mode for
Duos
a
is
few reasons.
really
I just
fun.
think it's a great element of teamwork where you have to find a good partner, you have to work well with them, you have to have chemistry, but it's not like trios or squads where if you're new to competitive or if you're up and coming, you need to find 2 or 3 really good teammates. Duos is like, hey, you got one really good friend, you both decide that this is your season, you're going to grind together and you're going to improve, and then you can instantly make a name for yourself and start placing. Trios...
I'm going to go ahead and watching this here. You guys can go, I'll link the video in the description. It's really good. I would suggest, I mean, we watched most of it here, but if you want to watch the rest, definitely go check out Aussie. But it is, he has a huge point with all of these things that he's saying. I think they really need to rework it, and I worry that Epic, in the past, Epic really hasn't cared too much about competitive, but if they want to keep the game's competitive relevance, they're gonna have to do some changes, and I think a lot of what he's saying would make people actually want to play Arena more, because quite frankly, once you hit champs, unless you're like Mars and you want to hit 200k Arena points, like, there's no real reason to grind. It's not like you get any reward except for points, which just get cleared. Like, if they did different skin variants and stuff like that based on Arena points, and I just think that would be way better. But anyway, thank you guys for stopping by and watching. I agree with a lot of what he said. Let me know if you're excited for Season 5, because I am. There's going to be a whole lot of new videos and content coming out. I have new series in the works as well. So, yeah, thank you guys, and hope you have a great day.